try some YouTube, and this is mainly going to be about my horses and what we do. And so we are here at the barn where my horses are currently housed. I got my little brother with me. Looks like we've got one in here, but she's in here all the time. This is one of my mares. She is my oldest horse. Her name is Lulu. She is a 22-year-old quarter horse, and she is due for a baby in a little bit. Everyone's waiting for her to have a baby. We're super excited. Yep, she gets treated very specially. She's in her own pen, just blocked off a little bit of the barn, and that gate goes to the rest of the barn, but she doesn't really get to go outside right now, so every once in a while we'll let her out and let her run free, but for the most part she's in here by herself. She gets special treatment. She gets fed hay in her own little corner, and she gets mom grain is what we've been calling it. She gets a special grain just for extra nutrients for her and the baby. Yep, I got my homemade salt block holder that when did we put that up? Last weekend? So this is the barn. It's fairly large. It was used for cattle up until November of 2021, and it was a big mess in here. We cleaned it out in November, and now my horses live in it. We did a little bit remodeling since then. It was quite a mess before. So this is one of the pasture yards. There are 3 different ones because it was set up for beef. I kind of moved them at a crappy time. I moved them in this past December, so everything was frozen already. But they now have a very large open yard, nice big barn that they can stay in, and they love it. And my family loves it. I love having them home. They were about 15 minutes from our house where they were previously, and now they're here. So this is my soon-to-be 18-year-old gelding. I don't know what he is. He's a mutt. He came from a shelter, and I don't know how we have your birthday, but your previous owner did. So his name is Captain Morgan. Call him Captain. I didn't give him that name either, but I love it. He's my main rider. He's the only horse out of my herd that I ride. And then that's Bella. Bella is an 18-year-old. She just turned 18 in March. She's my 18-year-old quarter horse. She is a red dun color, which I love. Excuse you, Captain Morgan. She has these stripes down her legs that get really prominent more in the spring and fall, and then she has this very dark stripe down her butt, all through her spine and even in her tail. And then she also gets dapples in the spring and fall, which I love. I love her dapples. Can't see them right now, but that might be a later thing. Bella, you're the only one. You're the only horse who can see your ribs. Everyone else is fat. You're fat. Bella used to be a barrel racing horse, and then you got retired, and your previous owners loved you, but didn't ride you much anymore. So she's very stiff and has stiff muscles and mostly. And so we're working on that to get her moving, and she's on a medicine right now that is helping with that. And so I'll probably post about that at a later date, but she just recently got this lovely chop of a haircut. I told my mom that it looks like Lord Farquaad. It's very, very pretty. So Bella here has got a bad eye. It looks a little weird. It looks a little gross. She is semi-blind in it. She's not fully blind. She can see. She got tested for that to make sure. Can she see? Can she not see? She can. It's very, very limited, but she can indeed see out of it. It's very not great looking right now because it's spring and everyone's noses are running, and same goes with her eye. It runs just like everyone's nose. It does once spring comes around. As time goes on, it will get better. It's really runny today. Really runny today. Yeah. Bella absolutely loves attention. She used to be very shy, didn't really want to be around anyone. And now she's always in everyone's business because she loves attention. Okay, so we're gonna go through a few different things, just like in the barn and out in the pasture, not pasture because we don't have a pasture here, just like in the area where they are staying, and just kind of go through the layout, and then we'll go through like chores and medication, stuff like that. We'll go through that in another video because all of my chores are done for the day. All right, so barn is where they stay. Huge barn. It's been super nice to have it where they previously were. They had a very limited barn and they weren't able to go in there a lot of times because it was a really big pain in the butt to clean out. This one is super open, has a lot of room, and is just super nice. I've loved having them here in the short time that they have been here. So like I said, this area was set up for cattle, so this hasn't been cleaned out since that cattle has been moved out. Like I said, I moved them at a very crappy time of year. So we're going to be doing a lot more renovational things just to kind of fix it up because the horses aren't that aggressive, but just to kind of make it a little bit more of a home for my horses. I just want to do that for them. So yes, all of the gatings and fences are all kind of thrown together in a shifty sort thing. Like there's half barbed wire fences and then there's just random paneling put together everywhere, because if you know how beef cattle work, they like to run into things and wreck things, and if you have cows, you know this. Cows wreck everything. If there's something, they will wreck it. They go through anything. So we are probably going to fix probably a good chunk of that if it needs to be fixed. And then just take out unnecessary things that could possibly injure or be a danger to my horses, because they're not as curious of animals as cows are, and they're nowhere near as aggressive. So random gate there, those two gates can shut and they can be locked in, but it's frozen, so we haven't been able to move literally anything because all the gates are froze shut. Wooden trough. As a kid, I used to feed a lot of cows in here, but obviously probably won't get used too much anymore. I know that probably the littler cousins during the summertime will come up and stand in there and pet the horses. All of my horses are fairly short, except for Belle. She's the tallest one. So yeah, there's a lot of different pens and areas around the farm that I haven't even looked at yet because like I said, moving at a crappy time. So that's something that's going to be a little bit interesting as we move along here. But that pen, or barn and pen situation, I believe was used for the yearling calves. But I could be wrong. I'm going to have to ask Grandpa on that one. But this pen that they're currently housing that's connected to the barn can be moved into this other section that can also be put into that they can go into that barn. And then there's another pasture right there. That is the biggest one, and it's not a pasture. Again, I shouldn't say pasture because that's not what it is. It was just a yard. Yeah, so there's 3 different areas that the horses can get moved into, or if I decide to get other animals that Grandpa will let me have here. We've already talked about cows, and he's all right with me having cows, so whenever I get the money and time to do that, that might be another project. Every pen has 2 round bale feeders in it. That just made it a lot easier for my grandpa to feed cattle that way. And kind of genius the way that he has it set up. So if you haven't noticed, all of the round bale feeders are next to the edge of the fence. So what my grandpa does is he drives up. There's a little pathway between the Quonset and the barn. He drives up on that road, comes into here, and if you see all that bale twine sitting right there, he just cuts the bale while it's on the skid and then plops it right into the round bale feeder. Doesn't have to get out much. Doesn't have too much work to do. You just gotta plop it right over the fence. All right, real quick tour of the barn. It might not be quick, who knows. So walk in from the big door, and there's just, Belly, you were just like in my way. There's a lot of room on the left-hand side, and there's a lot of room on the right-hand side. So on the left-hand side, it is just wall, or on the right-hand side, whoops. And on the left-hand side, there's a walkway that we cleaned out before we moved the horses here. My handy-dandy silt block holder that I made earlier, and boarded up windows and all that fun stuff because cows like to break things. So something that I recently did was moving the water trough. So when we put her into her own little separate pen here, we had originally had the water trough over in this little square area right in front of that panel of gate right there. But when we moved her over here, we needed to be able to have both sides of the pen get water so that everyone can have water without running two different troughs, because we did not have a power source for these two to have water. So what I ended up doing was, there was another board across this bottom line here that I took off and cut just so that when and if Lou has her baby, the foal can't necessarily get through as easy now, rather than just having a gaping hole. Hello, Captain Morgan. And then we move the water trough so it's half and half, and they can all get water. So that is this side of the barn. Usually when this gate is not shut, it gets swung over to this pole, and we have a bungee cord that holds the gate solid so that when the horses run into it or move it, it's not injuring anyone potentially, right? Because you like to stay behind the gate because you're special. But that's a story for another time. All right, so here's this walkway that I was talking about. We have a door that is right here that can open up.
For the snow.
But Grandpa plows snow up against the barn right here for insulation, and just, where else are you going to put the snow? It does open up, and we probably will use it in the summertime. It sucks right now because when we're hauling water the way we are in this tiny, skinny area, it's really hard for us to fill water, and I will show you that in the video where I show you how we do our chores. But having this door would be super nice right now, but we can't, because then we could just walk right here. So we have all these extra gates that will probably get used this summer. There's a lot of stuff that I'll probably use that hasn't been used. So earlier in the winter, our chores consisted of pulling a sled full of 5-gallon pails from the house to the barn. But because it is getting nicer outside and the snow is melting, pulling a sled across dirt sucks, especially because this door has a bit of an incline. So if you get from down there to up here, you're really struggling. So what do we use now, Alex?
We use just a Ranger over there.
Yeah, side by side in the shed over there, if you can see it in that corner.
Fill like 6-gallon pails, 6 5-gallon pails up, and just back it up and bring them over there and dump them.
Yep.
Over.
It sucks.
Yep.
Once Lou is done foaling, we're gonna move the water trough back because it's a pain in the butt. But we'll see with that when we get there. So a few other things to the barn. There's a ladder that goes upstairs. There used to be hay up there. I don't think Grandpa loads it in there anymore. Yeah, this barn is old. So there's that. There used to be a bunch of wires, like all those wires used to be just hanging down here, and there was a really sketchy light switch connected to it. Before me and my dad moved my horses here, we fixed the electrical area so that we could have the light switch upstairs. We moved the light switch that was dangling to a box with 2 other plugins so that we could have water heater And just able to have power in here because that's kind of necessary for certain things. And then right now our setup is just kind of interesting. So we just have kind of stuff lying around. These are pellets for Lou. Lou gets special pellets. Here. Lou gets special pellets for extra nutrients because she is pregnant. She loves them. She gets very, very worked up over pellets. I will show you that when I come do chores, because she gets very extremely worked up over pellets. So we've just been keeping those in 5-gallon pails to let the cats, and if there are mice running around, they don't get to the pellets as easily. And then I also have my alfalfa grain for the other two because they get very, very jealous of Mom when big old Mom over there gets to have grain all by herself. So you look at them, just standing there. Yep, waiting for her to come out because she's getting spoiled. Recently we just put this cabinet in. It's a cabinet from our old kitchen that my dad had just kept for storage reasons, and now we have it in here. I have my little schedule because I forget when Belle needs medicine sometimes, so that happens. Extra pellets. We're gonna see if mice will get to them for now. Those bags have gone pretty quickly. Lou's eating we give her about 3 to 4 pounds a day of pellets, so she's going through a lot of pellets so that those will not last long. And then we have ropes and lead ropes and brushes and scissors and halters and all that fun stuff. I don't have much moved here yet because we are still working on things, and then treat bin that needs to be filled, and Belle's medication that I will go over next time. So, what else? Janky setup is what this is pretty much so far. Like I said, really crappy time to move horses in December in Minnesota, but it is what it is. So these boards are frozen down, and they should unthaw this week because we're looking at nice weather this week. She is chunky. She is large and in charge. She loves attention. She loves being brushed. She's been getting brushed about every other day now, and he loves it. She gets lots of attention. So she is pregnant, I promise. We did not get a blood test for her. I did not really feel like paying for a blood test. So we're just kind of guessing. It's a guessing game of, when will she have her baby? She was put in with a stud in June of last year. So we're thinking end of April, beginning of May. Yeah, Mom, we're thinking that time. Sound good to you? She could have her baby any day now, though. I am sick of having these 3 separated, and I'm excited to meet the little one. But we're gonna have to. We had a corn bale put in here so that she could have a nice clean foaling area, and now she has it strewed everywhere. And we're gonna need to get another one in here before she actually foals. This is the bale that we've been feeding Lou. Hand feed her twice a day. My grandpa does the night feeding for me, because he loves my horses. So he does the night feeding. We've been feeding her off this bale. That's the same barn that connects to all of that fun stuff, and this is the barn that they live in. It's been nice having them here. I enjoy it. We enjoy it. My grandparents love it. My cousins love it. My grandparents used to own horses way back when. Our dad was what, 10? So about over 30 years ago now. They had horses. So Grandpa's kind of helping because he kind of knows what he's doing. I mean, kind of in the nicest way I possibly can.
Enjoy something to do.
Yes. Ever since he's been done with cows, he's been needing an activity, and I gave him one that keeps him busy. So he feeds round bales for me, and feeds my nightly feeding for my mom that I have sitting in there. So it's been a joy having them around. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I think that's all for showing you around and getting started. I'm mainly posting on YouTube now just because I am very, very fresh into horses. I truly have no idea what I'm doing. And I kind of just like to be able to share what's going on with my herd because it's very, very small. And I also like hearing feedback from others and seeing what I'm doing wrong or what I could do to make it better. Just simple things like that. And this is a very good way to learn things. I've gotten sent lots of YouTube videos that help me out. So if I could help someone or someone could help me out by posting, I'm obviously more than okay with that. So yeah, I think this is all for a barn tour and getting this whole YouTube thing started. We will be giving you daily updates, daily videos on things that we do as we do them. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm super excited. All right, we will see you all next time.